All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name's Nicole, and welcome back to our English class. We are continuing with our series on business English. For today's session, we will be focusing on meetings and discussions, phrases within our business English series. Now, previously, we explored vocabulary and phrasing relevant to business emails. Today, we will shift our attention to the language used in spoken professional interactions, specifically in meetings and discussions. All the phrases or common phrases that we use during this particular context, meetings and discussions. We do this. Effective communication during meetings and discussions is really crucial for collaboration, for decision making, and just achieving business objectives in general. And understanding the appropriate language to use can help you express your ideas clearly, participate confidently in the discussions or in the meeting, and contribute meaningfully to these particular interactions. Now, in this session, we will cover various aspects and phrases meetings and discussions. This includes phrases for starting meetings, expressing opinions, agreeing and disagreeing politely, asking for clarification, managing the discussion flow, and concluding meetings effectively. Now our goal here is to equip you with practical and easily understandable language that you can readily use in your professional meetings and discussions. So we focus on, clear and simple language. We aim to enhance your ability to communicate effectively and contribute confidently in these important business meetings. Let us now begin by examining phrases used to start meetings and discussions, starting with the first set of phrases, which is under starting a meeting or opening a meeting or beginning a meeting. Starting with the first phrase, which is a very common one. We are all familiar with this. I've also discussed this already on our previous one of our previous sessions, which is let's get started. Again, let's get started. This basically means to begin the meeting. It is a direct and somewhat informal way to initiate the meeting proceedings. Now, this phrase is concise and action oriented. It signals that the preliminary stages are over and it's time to focus on the meeting's purpose. It assumes a level of readiness among the attendees. While efficient, yeah, this is efficient, it might come across as abrupt in very formal settings or when attendees are still setting in. Consider the group dynamics and overall formality of the meeting. That's just how you assess the particular meeting atmosphere, and you try to adapt on that particular meeting atmosphere. But yes, this phrase, let's get started. This is direct, this is informal, it is also efficient in a way, and it assumes readiness. You usually do this in internal team meetings where a more relaxed atmosphere prevails, or when the meeting has a clear agenda and everyone is expected to be familiar with it, or other kind of specific scenarios. Now, pronunciation wise, common mistake that some learners do is the final ed in started. Look at started. It is past tense, right? So the final ed in started is often overemphasized as a distinct syllable, like id, start id, something like that. We try to pronounce a word by blending it more smoothly. And it applies to this particular word. We say started. Started. Make sure that it does not sound separated, that it sounds included in this particular word started. Okay? So the suffix ed here, it typically sounds like ed. There's three versions of suffix ed, right? First is the d, and then ed, and then t. three versions of how you can pronounce this particular suffix when connected to a word. So the stressed word here is also started, particularly the first syllable star. So let's get started. Next, I'd like to welcome you. Again, I'd like to welcome you. This is just to greet attendees. It is a polite and inclusive way to greet the attendees at the beginning of the meeting. So this phrase, it establishes a welcome and inclusive tone right from the outset. It shows consideration for the attendees, especially if they are guests or new team members or just from different departments. You can personalize it by adding a specific welcome, such as I'd like to welcome everyone to today's meeting, to today's project kickoff meeting, something like that. Okay? So you follow it with a brief statement of the meeting's objective, and because it can further, orient the attendees. So you usually use this at the start of the meeting because this is one of the phrases for starting a meeting, especially when there are guests or new applicants. And you use this in more formal settings to demonstrate courtesy and professionalism, or when you just want to create a positive and collaborative atmosphere, which is very important in a group setting, especially in a meeting. We want a more positive and relaxed atmosphere as much as possible so that everyone is really comfortable to share their thoughts in the meeting. Okay. Pronunciation wise, I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to welcome you. Now, for the first word, which is a contraction of I would like, you say I'd, which is a contraction. It should be pronounced as a single syllable, okay? So this is the IP transcription of that. There's a diphthong here again. What's a diphthong? This is when a vowel sound smoothly glides to another vowel sound. And the vowel sound here is this one. The one I highlighted, letter A and I, combine together. Those two sounds of vowel, they're combined together to form one sound, which is I. Again, I. So I'd. This is the same case with the second word, like I also. There's an I diphthong, like. And then for the third one, too, there's a schwa sound, the upside down E. That's a schwa. That's that's a signifier of a schwa sound. Again, what's a schwa sound? This is an unstressed, quick, and relaxed vowel sound. So schwa sound. And then for the fourth word, welcome, there is also a schwa sound here for the second syllable. So you say it quickly, and you do not put some stress on it, and it should be relaxed. And then lastly is you. Now take note, in IPA transcription, the symbol of you, or of the if the sound of letter Y is letter J. So this one, the one I highlighted, that is the sound of letter Y in IPA transcription, so that you are not confused. Okay? Because this IPA, this whole thing, the IPA transcription, that is really a cheat code if you know IPA transcription, because this is like a guide on how you properly pronounce the words and the phrases. Okay? That's basically just a guide. It is more like they spelled out how you properly pronounce these words in the phrases. Okay? All right, next. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Now, this is a this is you are asking people to sit down. So this is a polite and clear instruction asking the attendees to sit down, indicating that the meeting is about to begin. So this phrase, it is particularly useful when attendees are still standing or moving around at the start of the meeting. It helps to create order and signifies that the meeting is ready to commence. While yes, this is polite in very informal settings, a simple everyone settle down might be used. But yeah, you usually say, oh no, as far as I've observed, and I think you can also relate, usually they say this particular phrase, right? Please take your seats. So, because this maintains a level of professionalism suitable for most business contexts, and it's more polite, okay? All right. Pronunciation wise, let's look at the IP transcription. For the first word, please, there's a buzzing sound here, although the spelling is letter S. The way we say it should be buzzing. It should be voiced. Again, how to check if certain sound is voiced? You touch your neck and then you say the word. If your throat vibrates, then it's a voiced sound. If it does not, then of course it is a voiceless sound. Let's try to say the word no, the sound letter S. So this is a hissing sound. Did your throat vibrates? Of course not. So let's try to, so that only means that letter S sound is a voiceless sound. Let's try the letter Z sound. Z. All right, that's clearly a that's clearly a vibrating. Your throat is clearly vibrating, which means that your letter Z sound here is a voiced sound, so a buzzing sound. All right, going back, please. So there's a buzzing sound for please, and then there's a short E sound. This one, short E sound, and then there's also at the beginning a consonant cluster or a consonant blend where two consonants are beside each other, where they still it's more of like a diphthong, but here, since the sounds of consonants are much harder to usually blend than the vowel sounds, but we do that. We blend the sounds of two consonants or two or more consonants that are beside each other in a word. So please, you add those two sounds, you get again, so this is the first word is please. Now this I want to correct myself. The letter the vowel sound here, it is a long E sound. Okay, this is again a long E sound. If you see a colon beside the letter I or the vowel, it signifies that that's a long vowel sound. So here, this is a long E sound. So we say it as please. Again, please, not please, but please. Okay. Next word is take. There's clearly a diphthong here. E and I. So it sounds like A. So here this is take. Okay. There's a diphthong here. And then again, what's the sound of letter J in IPA transcription? It's the letter Y sound. So this is your. This whole thing is your. And then lastly, seats. Lastly, this is seats. So there's no buzzing sound here. It's all hissing sound. And again, if a vowel is paired with a colon symbol in the IPA transcription, then that signifies that it is a long vowel sound. Here, it is a long E sound. Okay? All right. Continuing with the next phrase, shall we begin? So this is a questioning phrase. Shall we begin? Now, this is more of a rhetoric question. You do not really particularly you just say it for the sake of saying that we should begin the meeting, because it's, you know, it's a more polite and somewhat formal inquiry asking if the attendees are ready to start the meeting. So it's asking if it's time to start. But usually if you say this or if you ask this, you are just saying that we should begin the meeting. Okay? So it just, the phrase, it seeks consensus from the group before officially starting the meeting. It shows respect to everyone's time and ensures that key participants are present and prepared. So it's particularly useful when there might be a slight delay or when waiting for a few key individuals. So a more informal alternative might be, is everyone ready to start? Something like that. So you use this when you want to ensure everyone is ready before proceeding, or if there has been a slight delay in starting. Okay? All right. Pronunciation wise, now there is a a new symbol here. Now this one, that is the symbol for the sh sound or the sh sound. That letter F without a horizontal line in the middle, that is the symbol for IPA symbol for the sh sound or the sh sound. So this one, the one I highlighted, is sh sound. Then the whole thing, that is shall. Again, shall. One more time, shall. Okay, so this one, the vowel sound here, that one, that is a short vowel sound, like in cut. So it's much faster, it's much quicker to say, to pronounce this particular vowel sound. Okay, so this is shall. Then following this is we. So there's a short E vowel sound here, and it starts with letter W sound. So we get we. And then begin. So begin, it's indicating the action of starting. Here in the IPA transcription and also the pronunciation, we get two short E's. Begin. So those both vowel sounds in this particular word, you say it much quicker. Okay, because these are short E vowel sounds. So begin. So the whole phrase is, shall we begin? Okay. Lastly, let's go over the agenda. This is a review the meeting plan. Reviewing the meeting plan. So it's a direct and informative phrase which indicates that the next step is to review the planned topics or to schedule the meeting. This phrase clearly sets the direction for the meeting's content, and it helps everyone understand what will be discussed. So it is really crucial to have an agenda prepared, of course, in a meeting. When using this phrase, you do that. You can do that when using this phrase. So you can follow it by displaying the agenda on a screen or distributing copies, printed copies. This ensures that everyone is on the same page regarding the meeting's flow and objectives. All right. So let's go over the agenda. So in most type of meetings, you use when there's a structured agenda that has been created. Okay, you use this particular phrase, or you want to ensure everyone understands the scope and sequence of the discussion, basically. All right. Pronunciation wise, let's have the first word, let's. So it's very easy. There's a short E vowel sound here. Let's. You end with a hissing sound, okay? And then in go, there's clearly a diphthong here. This one, the one I highlighted, that's a diphthong sound, O. And then you pair it with letter G sound at the beginning. So you get go. And then same as with go, there's also a diphthong in the third word, starting the initial sound, which is O. So that's a diphthong, and then followed by ver with a schwa sound. So all in all, this is over. Again, over. And then let's go over the. So this one. There's two versions of TH sound, right? So this particular one, the one you see on your screen, the one I highlighted, that symbol is the voiced th sound, because again, when we try to say the word the, your throat vibrates, which means that if our throat vibrates when we say the particular sound, then it is considered as voiced sound. So that particular symbol is referring to a voiced th sound. Okay? Well, the, how do you call that? The voiceless th sound, I cannot really put it in here. Wait, let me try to search it quickly. I don't know if you see it, but yeah, wait for a moment. I cannot really click on it, but yeah. Oh no. Oh no. For a moment. Something. Okay, wait for a while. So this one is the unvoiced. Oh, for a moment. Oh no. Oh, okay. Mhm. All right. This one is the unvoiced or voiceless th sound. So that's what it looks like. Okay, a circle with a middle line, with a line in the middle. So that is sound. Okay. All right, going back, this is the, and then lastly the word is agenda, which starts with a schwa sound followed by a letter G sound, which looks like this for this one, and then short vowel E vowel sound, and then consonant cluster or consonant blend, and then ends with um, a schwa sound. So it begins with a schwa sound and it ends with still a schwa sound. Okay, so this is, let's go over the agenda. All right, let's go over the agenda. Sorry for that. Now, we've already talked about the phrases that we usually use when we start a meeting. We have let's get started. I'd like to welcome you. Please take your seats. Shall we begin? Please take your seats. Shall we begin? Let's go over the agenda. All right. Let's and with that, of course, to see if you're following with me, let's have a quick practice. Let's have a practice drill. Now, what I want you to do is just basically as simple as reading the whole sentence. Okay? The one I highlighted in red are the phrases that we have shared or we have discussed earlier. So I just, extended it to really practice how we usually say it in a sentence. But most of these phrases, or yeah, all of yeah, no, yeah, most of these phrases can really stand alone. No, it just all makes sense as it is. But yeah, I'm just extending the whole phrase so that we can really practice it. So you just need to read the whole sentence with me. While I'm reading it, you should also be reading it in your comfortable spaces there. All right? Okay, let's get started. Let's get started so we can finish on time. Let's get started so we can finish on time. I'd like to welcome you all to today's meeting. I'd like to welcome you all to today's meeting. Please take your seats so we can begin. Please take your seats. Please take your seats so we can begin. Shall we begin with the first agenda item? Shall we begin with the first agenda item? Let's go over the agenda before we start the discussion. Let's go over the agenda before we start the discussion. All right, that's the last phrase. All right. Those are the phrases again for starting a meeting. And next, we will be focusing on phrases under contributing to discussion, starting with I'd like to add something. Again, I'd like to add something. Now this means you want to contribute to the discussion. It indicates your desire to contribute a new piece of information or a related thought or to build upon a previous point in discussion. So this is generally well received way to interject politely without disrupting the flow of conversation. So it signals that you have something relevant to contribute. So you do that. You say this phrase. You use this phrase. Usually you use this when you have a new idea or perspective to share, when you want to provide additional information related to the current topic, or when you just want to support or expand on a point someone else has made. So usually, and the tone here, of course, it should be polite. It should be, respectful of the ongoing discussion. All right. Focus on the pronunciation. So pronunciation wise, it starts with I'd. Again, I'd has a diphthong, as well as like, and then to, short O sound, and then to. No, that's it's not a short O sound, because remember, if a vowel sound is in IPA transcription is paired with a colon, that's a long vowel sound. Okay, this is the short A sound. That one, add, and then something. Again, something. So, okay, this is the voiceless th sound. So that's how it looks like. We've already talked about that earlier, but yeah, there's as an example of in here. So let's talk about that. That is a voiceless th sound where your throat does not vibrate when we try to say the sound. And then this one, the last letter here, last symbol here, the N with a tail, that's a symbol for NG sound or ng sound, the nasal sound. Okay. All right. So this is I'd like to add something. Again, I'd like to add something. Next, may I say something? May I say something? You're asking permission to speak. This is a formal and courteous way to request permission to speak, especially when you want to interject or when the discussion is highly structured. So this phrase, it demonstrates respect for the speaker and the established order of the meeting. It is particularly useful in larger meetings or when you are unsure if it's an appropriate time to speak. Okay, you use this when there's a formal meetings or presentations, of course, because we're talking about meetings and discussions here, or when you are unsure if it's your turn to speak, or when the discussion is being tightly moderated. Okay, or even when you want to be particularly polite and respectful in general. All right, pronunciation wise, looking at the first word, may, there's clearly a diphthong sound here, the A sound. This one. That's a diphthong. And then followed by with another diphthong. So it's all diphthong for the second word, I. And then there's also another diphthong for the third word, which is the same with the first word, A. Okay? Followed by where it begins with letter S sound. And then say. And then for the last word, same with the first phrase, something. There is a voiceless th sound and then an ng sound at the end. So this is may I say something? Again, may I say something? All right. Moving on to the next phrase. That's a great point. That's a great point. So this is you use this when you want to agree with someone. You are expressing strong agreement and positive acknowledgement of an idea or a comment made by another participant in the meeting. So this phrase not only does indicates agreement, but it also praises the quality of the point being made. So it can encourage the speaker and foster a positive and respectful as well as collaborative atmosphere. Okay? So you try to use this when you strongly agree with someone's idea or suggestion. You say this phrase. Or when you think a point is particularly insightful or helpful, or when you just want to show support and encourage further contribution, because it really adds to the good meeting atmosphere overall. Okay? All right. Pronunciation wise, so it starts with a voice th sound. Again, this is the symbol. Then this one is a short vowel sound. So, and then we end with ts sounds. So a consonant blend sound. So this is that's. Again, that's the second word, which is only a letter. This is pronounced as a schwa sound, which is again unstressed, quick, and relaxed vowel sound. So that's it. This is a. And then next word, there it started with a consonant cluster, consonant blend sound, G and R, which sounds like G and R. So you try to combine those two sounds, you get gr, gr. So it's really not that clear R, okay? I'm just trying to pronounce it so that you would be able to see the distinctions. Okay? After the consonant cluster, we get a diphthong sound here, the A sound, and then followed by a letter T sound or T sound. Okay? So this is great. Again, great. And lastly, the word point. So you start with the letter P sound, P sound. You followed it by a diphthong sound, oi, and then following our N sound, letter N sounds and letter T sound. So N and T. So you get point. Again, point. So that's a great point. Again, that's a great point. Fourth, I see your opinion, but. Again, I see your opinion, but. So it acknowledges and offer another view. It indicates that you understand the other person's perspective, but are about to introduce a contrasting or alternative viewpoint. So this is a crucial phrase for disagreeing politely and constructively. You acknowledge that you see their point. You show that you have listened and understood their perspective before offering a different one. So the word but here, it signals the introduction of your contrasting idea. And it's important to follow the word but with a clear and reasoned explanation of your alternative view, because you're disagreeing someone. So you should be able to give something that is reasonable enough for you to disagree with the opinion of another person. Okay? All right. Pronunciation wise, we start with I, which is again, it's a clear diphthong sound. And then it's followed by C. So C. And then again, this letter J symbol in the IP is pronounced as letter Y sound. So this is your. We've already talked about point earlier. And then but. Okay. So you say this again with, I see your point, but. So the stressed word here is in point. So that's where the stress comes from. So I see your point, but. Okay? You do that. All right. Lastly, I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure I agree. So you politely disagree here. This is a polite and less direct way of expressing disagreement or indicating that you hold a different opinion. So this phrase, it is much softer or more diplomatic than saying, I disagree. Just, saying directly, I disagree. So the terms not sure, it introduces a degree of tentativeness. It makes your disagreement less confrontational and more open to further discussion. It invites the other person to perhaps explain their point further or consider your perspective. You can follow this with a brief explanation of why you are unsure with their idea. Okay? All right. Pronunciation wise, let's start with I'm, which has a clear diphthong which has a clear I diphthong sound. So I'm, and then not, not. So you start with letter N sound, N, and then short sound, and then ends with T sound. So not. I am not sure. So this one again, since it sounds like SH sound, right? So we try to do this. We try to, this symbol is the symbol for SH sound, or the sh sound. So sure, there's at the beginning, at the initial sound is an SH sound. That is why in the IP transcription, the symbol here is the SH sound. This one, the letter F without a horizontal line in the middle. So sure. Again, so this is a diphthong and in the middle. Or this is a diphthong, and then it ends with letter R sound, and another diphthong, and lastly, agree with a starts with a schwa sound, followed by a consonant cluster GR, and then a long E sound. All right. So this is I'm not sure I agree. Again, I'm not sure I agree. So that is all for contributing to discussion. The phrases include I'd like to add something. May I say something? That's a great point. I see your point, but I'm not sure I agree. All right. Let's immediately have a practice drill. It's time to practice. Same pattern, same process. I just want you to read the whole sentence with me. And the highlighted word in red font, red color font, is the phrase that we've talked about earlier. All right, let's immediately start with the first one. I'd like to add something to what Sarah just said. I'd like to add something to what Sarah just said. May I say something before we move on? May I say something before we move on? That's a great point about the client's feedback. That's a great point about the client's feedback. I see your point, but I think we should also consider the budget. I see your point, but I think we should also consider the budget. I'm not sure I agree with that approach. I'm not sure I agree with that approach. So those are the phrases for contributing to a discussion. Let's move on to another set of phrases which are under asking for clarification. Phrases that we can use when we try to ask for clarification. Starting with, these are most questions. We're starting with, could you clarify that? Could you clarify that? This is asking for explanation. This is a polite and direct request for the speaker to provide a clear explanation or more details about a specific point they have made. So this phrase, it is concise and professional. It directly asks for clarification without implying blame or misunderstanding on your part. So it's a good general phrase to use when any part of the discussion is unclear to you. Okay? So again, you use this when a point made by the speaker is ambiguous or unclear, when you need more specific details about a statement, or when you want to just, ensure you have understood a complex idea correctly. All right. Pronunciation wise, let's start with the word could. So you start with a letter K sound, k, and then k, and then you followed it by a short O sound. That one is a short O sound and ends with a letter D sound. D. So this is could. And then this is again you with a long U sound, and then clarify. Starts with a consonant cluster followed by a short sound, and then again it is followed by a letter R sound with a short E sound again, and then F sound which sounds like F. And then this one it ends with a with an I diphthong sound. So clarify. Okay? And then follow that, the last word, it has a voice TH sound, followed by a short sound, and then a letter T. So that. Again, that. This phrase is pronounced as, could you clarify that? Could you clarify that? Next, what do you Next, what do you mean by that? Again, What do you mean by that? This is asking for meaning. It is a more direct inquiry asking for the speaker to explain the meaning or intention behind a particular term, a particular phrase, or maybe a statement they have used. So it is a straightforward phrase and it aims to get to the core of the speaker's intended meaning. So this is direct, but while it is direct, it can sometimes sound slightly challenging depending on your tone of your voice. So you should also consider your tone here. It should be direct, it should be inquisitive and seeking understanding. So be mindful of your intonation to keep it polite. Okay? All right. Pronunciation wise, we start with what? With a short sound. Do with a long oo sound, vowel sound. Then you still with a long oo sound. And then mean with a long e sound. By with a diphthong I. And it ends with that has a voice th sound. Okay? So this is what do you mean by that? Again, what do you mean by that? Third, could you repeat that? Could you repeat that? This is asking to say the sentence or the phrase or the thought again. It is a polite and standard request for the speaker to say something again, usually because you didn't hear or understand it the first time. This is, a very common and generally acceptable way to ask for a repetition, basically. It acknowledges that you might have missed something without blaming the speaker. Okay? All right. Usually we try to use this when you didn't hear what the speaker said clearly, when the audio quality is poor, on when the speaker talked very fast, or they talked too quickly. Okay? Pronunciation wise, let's have could you repeat that? Same with the first phrase, could you? So here still same pronunciation, but in natural setting we usually do connected speeches where certain words are almost sounding like a one word, which is like could you. It's not totally separated already. So this is could you repeat that? Okay, could you repeat that? There's a long E vowel sound and repeat, and a voice TH sound on that with a short sound. Okay, so this is could you repeat that? Again, could you repeat that? All right. Next is I didn't catch that. Again, I didn't catch that. It is you say this when you didn't hear clearly. So we did hear something clearly. So it's an informal way to say that you didn't hear or you did not understand what the speaker said and would like them to repeat it. This phrase is more casual than the previous one. Could you repeat that? And is more suitable to any kind of informal meetings with colleagues, for example, those colleagues that you know very well. So it's a direct way of indicating that you missed the information they have mentioned. Okay? All right. Pronunciation wise, I didn't like that. It starts with a diphthong sound and then didn't. So look at the IP transcription. It looks the same. It almost looks the same with the spelling of the word didn't. So this is didn't. There's a short E vowel sound here. And then catch. Again, catch. So there's a short vowel sound here, and then with a CH sound. Catch, catch, and then that. So same with the other phrases that has the word that. It still sound the same. And lastly, we have can you speak more slowly? Can you speak more slowly? So this is you when you're trying to ask to slow down, ask the other person to slow down, ask the speaker to slow down. So it is a direct but polite request for the speaker to reduce their pace of speech, usually because you are having difficulty understanding them because they talk too quickly. So this is, you are way to address the issue of speaking speed. And it's important to say it politely to avoid sounding demanding. You can also add the word please, which can soften the request. Like, can you please speak more slowly? Okay. Or maybe you can say, would you mind speaking a little more slowly? Something like that. Okay. All right. Pronunciation wise, let's have the first word, can, with a short vowel sound. And then you, we're familiar with that already, with a long O sound. And then speak with a long E sound. This one. And the initial sound is a consonant cluster or consonant blend sound. More, there's a long O sound here, and then slowly. So there's clearly an O diphthong here. That was the one I highlighted, and it ends with a short E vowel sound. Okay, for these are the phrases for asking for clarification. Could you clarify that? What do you mean by that? Could you repeat that? I didn't catch that. Can you speak more slowly? And with that, it's time for practice. Let's have a practice drill. Same pattern, same process. I just want you to read the sentence with me. Okay, starting with, could you clarify the last comment about the deadline? Could you clarify that last comment about the deadline? What do you mean by that suggestion for restructuring? What do you mean by that suggestion for restructuring? Could you repeat that? I didn't catch the last part. Could you repeat that? I didn't catch the last part. I'm sorry I didn't catch that. Could you say it again? I'm sorry I didn't catch that. Could you say that again? And lastly, can you speak more slowly for the benefit of remote participants? Can you speak more slowly for the benefit of remote participants? And with that, those are phrases for asking for clarifications. We shall move on with managing the discussion phrases. Okay? All right. Starting with the first one, let's stay on topic. This is avoiding going off subject. You're trying to focus. It's a direct yet generally polite way to redirect the conversation back to the main subject or the agenda item being discussed. This phrase, it is, much useful when the discussion begins to drift away from the intended focus, which, potentially wasting valuable meeting time. And it's important to deliver it in a neutral and helpful tone rather than sounding critical to the person who went off topic. We don't want to offend someone, especially a work colleague where you will be with them most of your life. Okay? All right. Most of your time of your day. So, let's have the pronunciation. Pronunciation wise, let's start with lots, familiar with that already. Stay with a clear diphthong A sound, and then on, short O vowel sound, and then topic, short vowel sounds here, both O and E. Okay, let's stay on topic again. Let's stay on topic. Next phrase, we are getting off track. We're getting off track. So you say that the discussion is off topic. So you try to say this when you want to be more direct in indicating that the current discussion has deviated from the intended subject or agenda. So it is a clear signal that the conversation needs to be brought back to the main point. Okay, you try to be more assertive than saying let's stay on topic, and should be used when the deviation is more significant or it is more prolonged. Okay, all right. Pronunciation wise, we have we're getting off track. We're getting off track. Now, starting with were. So, were, there's a short E vowel sound here. This is a contraction of we are, okay? We are familiar with that. We understand that. And then the second word, getting, it ends getting. So both vowel sounds A and E is a short vowel sound. Okay? So it ends with an NG sound. The one with symbol N with a tail. And then off, short vowel sound still. And then track, still short vowel sound. Okay? So you do that. Let's stay, we're getting off track. We're getting off track. All right. Next phrase. We have, let's circle back to that. Let's circle back to that. You try to return to a previous topic. You are suggesting return to the topic that was previously discussed but by many. Previously discussed by many, but there have been left unresolved or requires further attention after other points have been considered. So it is much useful for when you try to manage the flow of discussion by acknowledging a point raised earlier but suggesting a temporary pause before returning to it. So it implies that the previous topic is important, but it needs to be addressed at a more appropriate time within the meeting. Okay, so you try to use this word to that particular context, to that setting. Let's circle back to that. Pronunciation wise, we're familiar with this. Circle. So there's a circle. So there's a schwa sound here. Circle. And then back, short sound. To long u sound, and then that. We're familiar with that. Let's circle back to that. Fourth, let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick break. This is a suggestion for a short rest. You are suggesting for a short pause in the meeting, typically to allow attendees to rest, refresh, or attend the personal needs, their personal needs. So this phrase, it is considerate of the attendees' well-being, especially during longer or more intensive meetings. It acknowledges the need for breaks to maintain focus and and energy levels. The duration of the break should ideally be specified. So you can say let's take a quick 5-minute break, something like that. You typically use this phrase when during longer meetings where it typically lasting an hour or more, or when you notice attendees are becoming restless or losing focus, or you can also use this when there's a natural pause point in the agenda. Okay? All right. So this is let's take a quick break. Again, let's take a quick break. Pronunciation wise, we're familiar with let's, and then we're familiar with that. There's a clear A diphthong sound in the middle. So the initial sound is T, and then the last sound is K. Middle sound is A, which is a diphthong sound. So this is take. Then followed by a schwa sound, which is quick and stressed and relaxed vowel sound. Then following this is quick. Now again, if we try to say the word, the letter Q, it would sound like KW. It would sound like the blended sound of two consonants KW. Okay, so that is why in the IP transcription it looks like that. KW, and then there's a short E sound here, and then followed or ended with a K sound. So that's quick. For the last word, break, it starts with a consonant cluster BR, so B and R, and then combine those two vowel sounds, you get br. Okay? And then it's followed by another diphthong sound, A, and then ends with a lowercase sound. So this is let's take a quick break. Again, let's take a quick break. All right. We've already done with pronunciation. Last phrase we have is can we table that for later? This will be the last phrase for today's session. And this is can we table that for later? This is postponing a topic. A question proposing to postpone a particular topic or issue for discussion at the subsequent time, either later in the current meeting or in a future meeting. So tabling, it is a topic is a way to manage meeting time effectively by deferring less urgent or time-consuming discussions. Okay, it's you do that. So this help attendees understand the rationale. All right. You typically use this when a topic is taking up too much time and jeopardizing the discussion of other important terms, or you use this when the topic is not a highly priority of the current meeting, or when more information is needed before a productive discussion can take place. So your tone here, it should be you're really suggesting postponement. You are aiming for efficiency, and you often require agreement from the group. All right? Okay. Pronunciation wise, can, starts with the word can. We're familiar with that, with a short sound, like in cut. We, okay, can we? Short E sound. Table. It starts with T and then followed by a diphthong A and then B and then schwa sound, table. So it's a short, quick, unstressed syllable sound. Vowel sound, and then ends with L sound or L sound. Then followed by that, we're familiar with that, right? The word that, which has is a voice th sound. And then for with a short schwa sound. And then later, no, not that's not later, but letter. Yeah, later, actually later. Sorry, later. So there is a clear diphthong sound here, a, and then a schwa sound at the end. So this is can we table that for later? Again, can we table that for later? Now for this context and managing the discussion, the phrases that we included here or the phrases that we've talked about includes what? First, let's stay on topic. Second, we're getting off track. Third, let's circle back to that. Fourth, let's take a quick break. And lastly, can we table that for later? All right. So those are the phrases for managing discussion. To see again if you're following, it's already time to practice these phrases. So let's have a practice drill. Now, same pattern, same process. I want you to read the whole sentence with me. While I am reading it, I want you to also read it at the same time with me. Okay? Again, the one highlighted in the red are the phrases that we've talked about earlier. I just extended it, although certain phrases can really just, stand alone. It makes sense as it is, but I'm just trying to extend it so that we can practice it really more effectively. Okay? All right. Starting with the first one. Let's stay on topic so we don't run out of time. Again, let's stay on topic so we don't run out of time. Next, we're getting off track. Let's return to the proposal. We're getting off track. Let's return to the proposal. Let's circle back to that idea after the break. Let's circle back to that idea after the break. Next, let's take a quick break and resume in 10 minutes. Let's take a quick break and resume in 10 minutes. Wait. And lastly, can we table that for later and focus on today's priorities? Can we table that for later and focus on today's priorities? So those are the phrases that we talked about on what? We are focusing on what phrases for meetings and discussions. So let's try to read all the phrases that we've talked about earlier for a moment. I'm trying to find the slide. All right. Let's start with the first context, which is starting a meeting. Phrases include let's get started. I'd like to welcome you. Please take your seats. Shall we begin? Let's go over the agenda. Next, contributing to discussion context. Which includes I'd like to add something. May I say something? That's a great point. I see your point, but I'm not sure I agree. Next is asking for clarification. Could you clarify that? What do you mean by that? Could you repeat that? I didn't catch that. Can you speak more slowly? And lastly, managing the discussion. Let's stay on topic. We're getting off track. Let's circle back to that. Let's take a quick break. Can we table that for later? All right. So those are again the phrases for what? For the topic meetings and discussions. For a moment. All right. Okay, so those are the phrases for meetings and discussions. Particular contexts include starting a meeting, managing discussion, asking clarification, contributing to the discussion. So those particular contexts. Okay. All right. And since that is the last set of phrases, of course, that is the end of our discussion. This brings us to the end of our discussion on meetings and discussions, everyone, in business English. I hope you have found these phrases helpful for participating more effectively and confidently in your personal and professional interactions. So we have covered essential language for different contexts that I've mentioned earlier. Now, remember that the key to using these phrases effectively is to be clear, to be polite, and mindful of the context and your relationship with other participants, of course. So, practice incorporating these phrases into your next meetings and discussions, everyone. Pay attention to how some English speakers use them and adapt them to your own communication style. So, effective communication, it's a continuous learning process, and I encourage you to keep practicing and refining your skills. Consistent practice will really help you improve greatly. Thank you for your presence and participation and insightful questions throughout this session. If you have any further inquiries or would like to explore other aspects of my discussion, please don't hesitate to let me know now, or yeah, you can let me know now. Any lingering questions that you want me to address, that you want to be clarified on? I think none. Well, have a successful week ahead in your meetings and discussions, everyone, and have a great night ahead. Goodbye and good night. This is again, my name's Nicole, and good night.